The first thing I noticed was the silence. The kind of silence that feels wrong, like the world is holding its breath. I was jogging down the trail behind Lakewood Park, the same trail I'd run 1,000 times before. Same trees. Same gravel crunch. Same cold wind biting across my face. But that day, something was different. That day, I heard a faint, broken whisper. Help, someone, help. I skidded to a stop. There, just off the trail, hunched near a fallen bike, was a woman, mid-20s, long chestnut hair tangled in leaves, one hand pressed against her bleeding forehead. Her helmet hung loosely from her other hand, cracked straight down the middle. Her eyes lifted weakly toward me. And that's when everything inside me flipped. Hey, hey. Stay with me, I said, dropping to my knees. I'm going to help you. I'm fine, she mumbled before collapsing sideways. My heart slammed so hard I thought the whole forest could hear it. I checked her pulse. Fast. Shallow. Her breathing, irregular. Then the worst sign, her lips turning pale. I'd taken a basic wilderness first aid course years ago, and suddenly every lesson I'd half forgotten came rushing back like it had been waiting for this exact moment. I tilted her chin, checked her airway, listened for breath. Nothing. My stomach turned. I had no choice. I leaned forward and began rescue breaths, 2 slow, steady ones to get oxygen back into her system. On the second breath, she suddenly jolted awake. Her eyes shot wide. Her voice cracked in shock as she whispered. What are you doing? Did you just kiss me? I froze mid-motion, panic shooting through me. I wasn't kissing you, I stammered. You weren't breathing. I was giving first aid. She blinked, confusion softening into realization, then embarrassment, then something like gratitude. Oh, she whispered, cheeks flushing. So I was, actually out? You fainted, I said gently. You scared the hell out of me. She let out a shaky laugh. Wow. First time someone saves my life by, technically kissing me. I laughed despite the adrenaline shaking my hands. Not how I imagined my morning jog. She tried sitting up, failed. Her leg wobbled uselessly. Can't feel my foot, she whispered. My chest tightened. You might have sprained your ankle during the fall. Let me check. When I examined it, she winced at the slightest touch. Definitely swollen. I crafted a splint using 2 sticks and the sleeve of my sweatshirt, my fingers numb both from cold and worry. You're surprisingly good at this, she said. I just try to help where I can. She looked at me then, really looked. It wasn't the look of someone embarrassed anymore. It was the look of someone who just realized the world still had kinder people than she expected. My name's Emily, she whispered. I'm sorry I panicked earlier. No apology needed. If I woke up with a stranger's face 2 inches from mine, I'd probably scream. She smiled. A small one. But real. I helped her up slowly, supporting most of her weight as she leaned into my shoulder, hesitant at first, then trusting. I carried her partly, walked her partly, until we reached the main path where an elderly couple saw us and quickly called for help. While we waited for the ambulance, Emily looked up at me and said, You know, most people would have walked past. Pretended they didn't hear me. I'm not most people, I said softly. She studied me with an expression that made me forget the cold wind and the stiff ache in my arms from holding her up. You saved my life, she whispered. You didn't even know me. You didn't have to be someone I knew, I replied. You just had to be someone who needed help. Her eyes welled with tears, not from pain, but from something softer. You know, she said, brushing her hair back, I moved to this city 6 months ago. Haven't met many kind people. I was starting to think kindness was fading away in the world. It's not, I said quietly. It's just, quieter than the noise. But it's still there. The ambulance arrived, and the paramedics took over, checking her vitals, securing her leg, cleaning the cut on her head. As they lifted her onto the stretcher, she reached out suddenly, grabbing my hand. Wait. I stepped closer. Yeah? Her voice softened almost to a whisper. Can you come with me? Just, until I know everything's okay? I didn't even hesitate. Of course. During the ride, she kept her hand loosely hooked around my fingers, like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go. At the hospital, after the scans and the bandages and the reassurance that she'd be okay, she looked at me again with that same tender, searching expression. You know, she said slowly, this morning started with a crash, and somehow ended with someone holding my hand. I felt my cheeks warm. I'm just glad you're all right. She smiled, small and sincere. Can I see you again? She asked. I mean, for something that isn't medical? I cleared my throat, trying not to grin like an idiot. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like that. Her smile widened. Good. Because I think people like you make the world feel safe. I didn't know what to say, so I just squeezed her hand gently. As I left her hospital room hours later, she called after me. And next time, if you do ever kiss me, I hope I'm awake to notice. I laughed the whole way down the hallway. The positive message. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a detour, a moment of courage, a heartbeat's worth of compassion, can change the entire direction of someone's life. On an ordinary day, with an ordinary choice, two strangers crossed paths. And kindness became the start of something extraordinary.